Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell. Remax results.
Josh O'Shea, Remax results.
We just finished last segment talking with Chris Littlejoe with St. Paul Chiropractic at Natural Medicine Center on Hamlin Avenue. We'll have more information coming from him in the next segment. Now we want to talk about your finances and what you do with that tax refund. Do you go to Vegas? Do you go to the casino? What do you do, Josh? Do you go on a trip? Do you buy yourself, new clothes? What do you do?
I'd probably spend it on hockey for my kids.
Well, hey, at least you're honest. That's probably true. Hockey's expensive. But one thing you could do, which is not an instant gratification like buying a brand new outfit or going to Vegas and having a trip, but will lead to good results for you down the road when you are older and wish you would have done something like this, is invest it. And that's what Eric Swift and Jeff Pico from Country Financial are here to talk about. And I'll let them go into some of the details about it and some of the things that people might learn from.
Sure. Really going to talk specifically about IRAs today. What kinds are out there, how much you can put into them, what to do with that tax return.
Or bonus, right? Let's say you got a bonus from work,
right?
yeah. Or a raise,
A lot of companies will pay a bonus in the first quarter because they get the year before results. So, talk first about contribution limits. Those have not changed for 2016. So whether we're talking about a traditional or a Roth IRA, if you're under $5,500 is the amount that you can annually put into your IRA. And if you're over 50, they give you the catch-up, and you can put in $6,500 into your IRA. Those contribution limits are the same for both the traditional and the Roth.
Okay.
Our next question we probably get most of the time is, which one should I do, or why should I do a traditional versus a Roth? So talk a little bit about the differences in those two. Let's start with the Roth IRA. That gets a lot of traction these days. And the reason it gets a lot of traction is because just like a traditional IRA, it grows tax deferred, so you don't pay taxes along the way. The difference being that you do not get the tax deduction today. So when you put money into your Roth IRA, you don't get to write that off on your taxes today.
Oh, yeah.
However, when you turn to your whatever your retirement age is, but let's go to 65, when you start taking money out of your Roth IRA, totally tax-free. All of the principal that you put into it and all of the gains are totally tax-free. The difference between your traditional IRA, the traditional IRA, which can come in handy at tax time because you may sit down with your accountant and he says, hey, you moved up tax brackets this year. We need to, if you haven't done it, do a deductible IRA. It'll bring you back down into the
nice.
However, that set aside, ideally you want to do your Roth first because of the tax-free. Why do I say that? So your traditional IRA acts a lot like your 401k, your 457, and I always tell everybody, just realize with those plans, you have a silent partner in that plan.
And growing with you, taking the gains with you.
Right. Yeah, that silent partner's got a name. They're called the IRS. Oh. When you take money out of those plans, it's taxed as ordinary income. So every dollar you take out, Uncle Sam gets his cut.
Yeah.
And our fear of the future is because of the tremendous debt that our country is building. A lot of factors out there. What are those tax rates going to be down the road? Right. We don't know.
Yeah.
We can only guess they're probably going to be higher because history would tell us, historically, if I ask somebody today, what do you think tax rates are, high or low? Most people are going to probably say, well, taxes are high. If you look over history, they're not that high. Right. They're actually we're in a lower tax rate. Taxes top tax rates have been as high as 94%. So,
and it just depends. I mean, if no matter who gets elected, they'll probably go up realistically. They kind of always go up. I don't care if you have a Republican in or a Democrat in. It seems like they always go up. Now, some people may be fans or not fans of Bernie Sanders, but they could be 99% if Bernie gets in, right?
I'm just kidding. Could be, yeah. There's a little story we always tell that Ronald Reagan, everyone knows Ronald Reagan, after in his acting career, Ronald Reagan only did 2 movies a year. The reason why he only did 2 movies a year is because he made about $100,000 for each movie he did. And back then, the top tax rate, if you made over $200,000, was 94%.
Holy moly.
Wow.
So he sat down and he's like, well, it doesn't make sense for me to make that third movie because I'm only going to see 6,000 out of that 100,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That would.
We're not really at a high tax rate. Right?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
Well, and I suppose the more you make, obviously, the more you pay in taxes. So
Correct.
that's for something too. If you have that increasing income, like, great, I had a great year last year, but then you also pay more taxes. You forget what goes along with that.
I have a quick question about so real estate related housing, buying a house.
So be mediocre. is what I'm saying.
You're let's say you don't own a house and you're renting, and you're looking to invest some money, and you want to put it into a Roth IRA, which I think is the most powerful tool there is out there for average consumers and average people. That can get into the game, if you will, of investing and leverage a lot and then have it grow tax free. It's very, very powerful. If you do that though? Here's what I'm thinking. Someone says, "Oh, well, I'm taking that money away and I want to save up to buy a house. So if I put it into a Roth IRA, then I got to go and wait longer, and I might be able to have to put that off to buying a house."
Right.
How does that play out?
How do they interact, right?
Yeah, so we hear that a lot because one of the advantages about a Roth is that your contributions, so what you've put into the plan, not the gains, but your contributions, you can pull them back out with no consequence. So a lot of people then look at that as, well, maybe that's a good place to have my emergency fund or my savings account for my down payment. And I'll say that's not a bad plan. What I do caution on that is that just keep in mind, once you pull that out, you can't put it back in. So you're limited to your $5,500 a year. So you can't pay back your plan that money that you pulled out.
And we all know or should know the power, the sheer power of compounding interest.
Yes.
It's insane, the power of compounding interest. So if you're pulling it out, the money out, you're not able to put it back in. Now you've lost what that can do and the power that can have. Right.
And you're kind of lost your purchasing power, if you will.
Yep. So the question then is, let's say Stephanie, they're buying a home, they have a Roth IRA, they have other IRAs, they have a 401k. Do you guys look at that and say, hey, great, you have this, now you can maybe get approved for a loan, or does it help in the approval process of a loan?
Absolutely. Assets are always important when qualifying. We want to make sure, obviously, you have the money for a down payment. You can qualify, but we always will look to see that what we call like a compensating factor. How well have you proven to save? Because if you do lose your job, or something changes, are you going to be able to make that mortgage payment for the next month or 2 months until you can get back on your feet? So, it's really important. And there are some people, I know there's options with your 401k loan or a traditional IRA where you can pull the money out to use for a down payment on a house if it's your first
time home
buying a home, correct? So we do look at those things as well as options for people to use for down payments, sure.
Yeah, and it's something that you don't ever want to, in a perfect world, right? You never pull money out of an investment. But if you're buying a house and it's a family change or a life change, and you want to have a homestead, then it might make sense that one time, as long as you get back on track, if you will, and continue putting in, right?
Right. And then, you also have to look at the investment side of that. And we've had the worst January, I believe, in the history of the market this year.
Oh, the stock, yes.
The stock market.
Yes.
So you also want to look at, if I am going to go pull money out of that Roth IRA, am I forced to do it at a bad time, i.e. the market's down?
Yeah.
Worst time to pull your money out because now you've lost the ability to gain it back.
Yeah, I was at, I think it was at the Dave Ramsey deal we have on Thursday nights, and we were sharing our stories about things. And in the 08 crash, I had money in the stock market and investments, and it halved, straight up halved 50%. And I just said, and it wasn't coming around. I said, that's it, I'm out. I pulled everything out. Now, had I not done that, I'd probably be back to whole plus probably 50% at this point, right? I mean, so that knee-jerk reaction in all things in life, it tends to could cost you, right?
Well, it's just what Dr. Chris said about what the three things. One of the three things is what you think about is really going to impact your life. Is how do you think about money? Is it just a quick? I'm going to put it in my Roth IRA and I'll save it up for 6 months. No, it's a lifelong investment.
Yeah.
And if you think about your money, your retirement, it is for your retirement. And think that way.
Instead of tracking it every day, I'm not a day trader. I'm not someone who does that. So I'm not like, I should, you should just go and say, okay, let it go. And here's my plan. And when I get to be within 5 years or 7 years, then I can maybe start to figure out timing a little bit, right?
Right, exactly. So, yeah, you want to stay the course with those investments. That's why we kind of say, let someone else handle them for you because we take the emotion off the table.
Yeah. And we all get emotional about money, right?
Right.
Love and money,
absolutely.
I think, are all
I
emotional
don't.
about. Welcome back. We'll be back soon with the last segment with some great offers from Eric, Jeff, and Chris, and Stephanie, and Josh and Jason.